everybody, and welcome back to the Record Shelf. I am John, and we are doing part two of the album by the Doobie Brothers from 1973, The Captain and Me. And this album, I believe, was their best album up to this time. It was the pre-Michael McDonald period, and which was my personal favorite for the Doobie Brothers. I think their music in this period was their best. It got a little softer sound in the years later when Michael McDonald came in. And I'm not saying those songs were bad. I liked that music, but I thought the best music they did was this earlier period. And it just had a freer feeling to it, a little more boogie, a little more groove, just all around more interesting music. One feature of the 1980s was that a lot of bands that were successful in the 70s end up changing their format for the 80s, which is very strange. A lot of them just started doing love ballads, and it just became, soften your sound, make it more top 40, make it work for the radio, bring in more women, you listeners, etc. At the same time, there was a growth in heavy metal from England, and a lot of this stuff called hair metal, which was really hard rock with a hard rock without a super edge, but still had a nice top 40s feel to it, but it was heavy guitar rock. And these were usually new bands that had just come along in the 1980s. So the older bands were vying for the best love ballad band, while the new bands in the 80s were coming along. So let's make it hard. Let's make it, let's rock and roll. And then, of course, there was the synth pop and all that stuff. So very strange how this happened. A lot of bands that were rockers in the 80s became softer, had a softer edge to them that were rockers in the 70s became softer in the 80s. Journey is one, REO Speedwagon is another, Chicago. I can go on and on, the Doobies, on and on and on and on. This happened a lot, and I never understood why. Yes, it did make them bigger, but they also lost a lot of their fans from the previous incarnation. But this happens a lot of times when you get a new producer or you get a new member of the band who's a major contributor to the music and the songwriting, and that's what happened to a lot of these bands. Jonathan Cain moved into Journey after Greg Rowley was out, and then here we have Michael McDonald coming in not long after this and changing things. So that just happened a lot. But this is still the incarnation of the Doobie Brothers that I like the best. They had a great combination of boogie rock, sort of a good groove rock sound to it, edgier guitar, as well as a little bit of country sound. So they were kind of like the Eagles in this period, where they were transitioning from more of a country sound to more of a rock sound, but they were doing both. And so the Doobies were doing the same thing. And it was mainly because Johnston was more of a rocker and Pat Simmons was more of a country player. So these two together ended up working together, created this fine mix of both genres. Okay, so Captain and Me, I think, was one of their best albums. And so far, and I want to mention too, I didn't mention this last time I was talking, Ted Templeman was their producer. This guy was a very well-known producer in the 70s and 80s, and produced other great bands as well later on. He did Van Halen, for example. He did The Police, for example. So this guy got around, but he also participated in the recording of this album. In fact, Ted Templeman was involved in, and I believe he actually did percussion and backing vocals on one of the songs, Without You, which we're going to listen to, the last one we're going to listen to today. So this guy was also a musician. He could also participate in the recording. So we're going to go ahead and listen to the next three songs. We just finished the first three, which was Natural Thing, Long Train Running, which is a very popular song of theirs, and China Grove, another very popular song. But now we're going to be listening to Eyed Cajun Woman, Clear as the Driven Snow, and Without You. Now, I haven't heard these songs in a very long time, so it's going to be a lot of a reaction for me. So I don't get to react a lot to this music, but sometimes I do, and I enjoy it. It gives me something new to listen to. Now, I have heard this music. It's just been a very long time. So in a sense, it's a reaction. So we're going to start out with Dark-Eyed Cajun Woman. And what's the song about? Well, it's about a dark-eyed Cajun woman. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot else to talk about. That is essentially the point of the song. So let's get to it and do Dark-Eyed Cajun Woman. Let's pull it up here. And let's go. Oh, no, stop. Okay, let's hit it.
I think back to the time when I first saw your face. You were walking across the Delta to your cold and lonely place. You know I took you for a small girl, really not quite 17. Oh Lord, but I was wrong, oh so wrong. You're like a woman I've never seen. Dark-eyed Cajun woman, where are you coming from? Your soul is in the backwoods. They say you never had a home. But I'm gonna know you better if it takes all night and day. Dark-eyed Cajun woman, you never get away. No, never get away. Now the evening breeze is blowing. I hear your voice everywhere. Your cold black eyes, they are dancing in the starlight. Oh man, the cold night air, it's so beautiful. You know I have to say, dark-eyed Cajun woman, you never get away. Never get away. Now the evening breeze blowing.
I'm gonna pause it right there. This was the first time I believe that the Doobie Brothers brought in the synthesizer in their music, at least to this level. And that's interesting because they were clearly making a transition from what they began as, a guitar-oriented sort of hippie, country, folk rock band to something a little more slick, a little more modern. And in the 70s, bands were just starting to use synthesizers. And clearly this album has a lot more of it. So that's a very interesting thing. The synthesizers in the 70s were very primitive, very complicated to use, hard to use. And I remember the first Moog. In fact, I was in a band in the early 80s, and we didn't have a lot of money, so we got a synthesizer. It was a very small one. It was maybe about this big. And it had such, today it had such childish sounds to it, primitive sounds. But it was really cool, and we used it for some effects. But even before that, a decade earlier, they were doing this. And this sounds pretty sophisticated, this synthesizer. So they put a lot of money and a lot of time to get this sound in the band. It wasn't like it became, 15 years later when synthesizers could be played by any keyboardist. You had to kind of know how to work with sound. It was almost like a sound engineer's toy. So this was very interesting. I'm hearing a lot of background synthesizer in here to fill in and make it a little smoother. But I just wanted to point that out. Okay, let's hit it.
I hear your voice everywhere. Your cold black eyes dancing in the starlight. Woman, the cold night air, it's so beautiful.
Dark-Eyed Cajun Woman. Cool. That was a good song. I wouldn't put it up at the top of their list of great songs, but it was a good song. It really gave me Eagles feelings. Peaceful, not peaceful easy feeling, but it felt like an Eagles song of that period. Very similar. You got the vocal harmonies, you got some great guitar soloing and noodling around. Maybe the addition of some keyboard or synthesizer in the studio, which the Eagles never really did much of on stage. They were really a guitar-based band. But so were the Doobies. I mean, they had 2 guitar players and a bass player and 2 drummers. I mean, these guys were guitar-centered and percussion-centered. They had strong grooves and they had really good guitar playing. And they also had good vocal harmonies. And so, they're an interesting mix. But yeah, I get a real Eagles feeling from this song. Kind of like Witchy Woman from the Eagles, whatever. It has that feel to it. So anyway, kind of a little bit of an easy listening song. Nothing in your face. Not too mellow. Just about the right kind of thing. Just kind of, you can picture yourself just kind of driving down the road and listen to it. And it's kind of relaxing. Okay. And it's got some really good guitar playing. I like the guitar licks that were played here. Very good. All right, so the next song is Clear as the Driven Snow. Now, it's an old saying from the 1500s. That's how old this is. That something is as pure or as clear as the driven snow. And driven doesn't mean driving. It means the snow that's being blown, drifting. So the wind is cleaning the snow as it's drifting, so it's pure white and pure. So I'm not sure what this song's about, and I have no idea what it sounds like. I think it's a more mellow song. And I think it's more of a country song because I think Pat Simmons wrote this, so it shows. So we're going to get into that right now, Clear as the Driven Snow. So let's get it done right now.
Laying easy somewhere, shade across my mind. Thoughts that pass I cannot catch. I'll reach for you and find that I have done.
Okay, I got to pause it right there because I just had a massive John Denver flashback. Okay, if you don't know who John Denver is, he was a singer-songwriter from the early 70s, and he was a folk singer, wrote some great songs, had a very unique voice, and this sounds like a John Denver song. It sounds like, any one of his songs. It sounds like I swear it sounds like John Denver singing one of his songs. He had that that chord progression, and anyway, it just sounds like a John Denver song. Very interesting. I wonder if they listened to John Denver and said, "Oh, we got to do something like that," because he was very, very popular at the time. Let's continue.
Not to get burned out when the tree blows, even the sea knows that I have learned how. Think I can see now. Looking through dreams is not what it seems. They handed me the bottle and said, drink it till it's gone. And now that it's half empty, I'm not sure I can go on. Thought I had learned how not to get burned now. Wind in the tree blows, even the sea knows that I have learned how. Think I can see now, looking through
Wind blowing.
I keep rolling, and I can't stop. Rolling and I can't stop. It's driving me out of my mind. Then the truck stops, and the plane hops, and the cold drop, and I'm so close. Cold drop, and I'm so close. Give me a little more time. Spin me around, turn my life round. Kick me down slow, don't let me go. Spin me around, turn my life round. Kick me down slow, don't let me go. Gonna quit you, gonna quit you, gonna quit you, pretty mama. Quit you, hey mama. You know that I ain't no kind. Get behind me, get behind me, get behind me now, bad times. Oh, bad times, there's nothing in there you can hide. Spin me around to where I go. Get me down slow, don't let me go. Spin me around to where I go. Get me down slow.
That was awesome. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. I did not expect that. That was really came out of left field. I did not expect that. I thought it was going to be a mellow song with Pat Simmons singing and a lot of nice little guitar playing here and there. I did not expect the rest of that song, at least the halfway mark on, totally blew me away. That was incredible. I love the reindeer bells. And you're like, what are they doing? You're like, what are they doing with this? Is this going to turn to a Christmas song? What's happening here? And then it builds up, goes into a great rock beat with some great guitar playing, and it kind of drops again, and then it takes off again even louder for the end. I liked it. I think this is going to be one of my new Doobie Brothers favorite songs. This may even go on my playlist. That's how much I like this, especially the last half of the song. I just didn't expect it. I didn't expect what I heard. I'm very impressed. I know the Doobies have great guitar playing. They have really good guitar playing, great vocal harmonies. But I just love that, what they did. I like how they arranged that. Started out with the, it kind of stopped, and then it began with those sleigh bells. Bum, bum, da 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 da. And at first, it sounded like some kind of a Scots-Irish, Celtic dance thing. Dun, 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 because that's the kind of beat you get in that music. And then when it just took off, I'm like, whoa, this is a whole nother level. Just really impressed by this song. And I'm very surprised, and I love it when I'm surprised in a good way. This is a great song. I love it. Okay, let's go to the next one. That's going to be hard to beat. That was a good song. So what do we have next? The next one is Without You. This is also a good song. I've heard it. It's been a while, so I don't remember everything about it, but it's rated one of the best songs on the album. We'll see if it is. I don't remember much about it, so we're going to give it a whirl. Once again, we're going to get a reaction out of me because it's been so long since I heard this song, but I've heard it's good. So let's get to it with Without You by the Doobie Brothers on their album The Captain and Me. Let's hit it now. Little guitar. That was just a great early 70s rock song. That's what that was, okay? Pure and simple, unadulterated, early 70s rocker, okay? And you can tell it's early 70s by the groove and by the guitar sound. Very, very, very clear. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you'd put on at a party. You have a party, having a party outside, and you got some friends over, you crank this song. This is definitely one of those songs. Yeah, I like it. It's been so long since I've heard it, I forgot all about it. But it had a good riff, not a great riff, but a good riff. Very simple. It was really about the groove, and there was a lot of that guitar wailing. You know, this is clearly the rocker song on this album. This is the hard rock song so far, the hardest rock song so far on this album. So the Doobies were an interesting mix of folky, rock, heavy rock, but you know the beat too was like it wasn't a hard driving rock. It was a very simple, halftime, and there's one thing about Doobie Brothers songs. Like I said, they almost all have this really good groove that makes your body want to move. It makes you want to move. It makes you feel like driving or getting out or moving around. They weren't just songs to sit and just ponder the universe. There was really a feeling of movement in Doobie songs. And an upbeat feeling. They were a very positive, upbeat band. I mean, they sang about some great things, and whenever I listened to Doobie Brothers, I always felt good. Whenever I was young, I always felt good. You're on a road trip and you want to feel good, man, put some Doobies on. You're going to have a good time. You're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to like what you're doing. You're probably going to drive too fast. Happened to me a lot. Yeah, this is a great song. I really like this. And the last three songs that we did today, I really enjoyed them. That last one especially, Clear as Driven Snow, really blew my socks off. I really liked that. Did not expect that it would be that way. I really didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't that. So by getting it, I really have a positive feeling about that song. This one I like too. It's, like I said, it's a typical early mid-70s rocker. Synthesizers hadn't quite taken over yet. In fact, there was synthesizer on here because Ted Templeman did some. He also did some backup vocals, but I didn't hear any synthesizer. So maybe that's what the reindeer bells were. I don't know. It could be. Nevertheless, I'm impressed. It was good songs. All three were good songs. All right, so we've done the next three songs on the album Captain and Me from 1973 by the Doobie Brothers. And next time we're going to get together, we're going to be doing South City Midnight Lady, Evil Woman, and Busted Down Around O'Connelly Corners. Yeah, I don't know anything about that one. Evil Woman is interesting because it was an ELO song called Evil Woman that I loved. It came out about the same time as this, I think, maybe a little later, but not much. But I don't think it's going to sound the same. It's going to be different. Doobies have a unique sound. They have a unique vocal sound, and they have that great little groove they put in a lot of their songs. They're uniquely Doobies, okay? So if you haven't heard this album before, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as me. I've enjoyed doing it. I'm really enjoying hearing some songs I haven't heard in a very long time. Maybe some for the first time. I don't know. But this has been a blast. I'm looking forward to the rest of this album, and I hope you are too. And if you like what we're doing, you want to support this channel, check out our coffee. Now, we have got 5 flavors. We've got organic. We have ground and whole bean. 5 flavors. This is good coffee. And I'm telling you, folks, I love coffee. My wife and I, we drink coffee. We really like coffee. Very particular about what we drink. And I don't like puddled water. I don't like it too bitter. I like good flavor, and it depends on the time of day, too. But we tasted all these coffees. We drink them. We like them. And, sometimes you want this. Sometimes you want that. Get as many as you want, because the first order, no matter how much you get, is free shipping if you use the word coffee in the code. So please get over there. And we're going to be putting some bundles together here. They might already be there by the time you go. You can get more bags for a discount for the Mother's Day special. So get over there and get yourself a bundle of coffee, and I know you'll like it, because believe me, folks, I wouldn't be peddling this if I didn't believe in it. I didn't want to just sell any old product. I wanted something that I liked, that I could attest to, that I'm my own best testimony, and I am. And those that have in my family that drink this, they love it. They buy it. They drink it because they say it's the best coffee they've ever had. And it is the best coffee I've ever had for sure. So please get over there, help the channel out. We need to get some new equipment. We need to upgrade the quality of the show. This is how we help me do that. All right, well, thank you for joining us on this Magic Carpet ride. Again, the greatest albums of the 70s and 80s. And we are still in the 70s. We're doing the Doobie Brothers 1973 album, The Captain and Me. And we have already done a lot of other albums, so please get over there and check those out. Also, watch our Rock My Bean channel where my son and I talk about all things drumming and drummers and percussion, and also our Amazing Performances show where we actually look at live performances that are just blow me away kind of performances. And my son, who's a Gen Z, reacts to it, and a lot of stuff he doesn't know before, so he gets to react to it, and I get to react to some of it as well, and also review it because I'm familiar with a lot of these bands. So anyway, please get on there and watch those shows. If you like this channel, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell because I know it's like a broken record, but it does help the channel if I actually mention this. And as always, join us again for the next time. We're going to complete this album. And if you haven't heard these before, I think you're going to like what they've got. Doobie Brothers are a really good band, one of the great bands of that period. And they were around for quite some time, even after the 70s. So a lot of material they did was very good. This, I think, one of their best albums. In fact, their best album up to this time. And that's why we're doing it. Well, thanks again for the Record Shelf. I'm John. We'll see you again. Keep rocking.